So it's January 2026. And if you've been looking at the latest in luxury travel, you know the whole era of the superficial spa visit is just over.
It's completely dead. We've entered this new age of what they're calling ultra nature.
Exactly. And today we're doing a deep dive into why high net worth travelers are suddenly trading these, perfectly manicured resorts for raw, almost unfiltered wilderness.
It's a massive shift. I mean, we aren't just talking about a room with a nice view anymore. The whole point of this is to understand how these concepts like bioelectrical grounding have become, well, legitimate medical necessities.
Okay, let's unpack medical necessity for a second, because that's a really heavy label for, a walk in the woods. The trend is Shinrin-yoku, or forest bathing. But what is actually happening to us biologically?
Right. It all starts with a defense mechanism. Trees release these volatile organic compounds. They're called phytoncides. Think Alpha-Pinene.
And that's to protect themselves from insects, rot, that sort of thing.
That's it exactly. They're protecting themselves. But when we walk through the forest, we breathe them in.
So in a way, we're sort of inhaling the forest's own immune system.
That is the perfect analogy. And when you do, your body responds by boosting its natural killer cells, the NK cells.
The heavy hitters.
Yeah.
These are the cells that go after viruses and even tumors.
Exactly. And the return on investment here is just wild. The data shows a single 3-day trip to a forest can keep your NK activity elevated for over 30 days.
30 days from one trip.
30 days. And even just 20 minutes can significantly lower your cortisol. So in 2026, the forest is seen as this source of truth for longevity. It's addressing what we call nature deficit disorder.
Okay, so if the forest is the pharmacy, the travel industry is racing to find the most potent dose. We've got a rundown of the top spots for 2026, and they are incredibly specific about this. Let's start with the Sankara Hotel in Yakushima, Japan.
Yakushima is fascinating because they've tweaked the formula. You'd think they'd send you up to the famous high-altitude cedar forest, right?
Right.
But they don't. Sankara's program focuses on the lower elevation laurel forests.
Which feels counterintuitive, but it's about the humidity, isn't it?
Precisely. The higher humidity at lower elevations actually optimizes how you inhale those phytoncides. Their program is more about sensory awakening, listening to cicadas, than, hitting some hiking goal.
Then you've got Forestus in the Dolomites, Italy, which takes almost the opposite approach. We're talking 1,800 meters up. This feels less about chemistry and more about frequency.
It is. Forestus is rooted in ancient Celtic natural doctrine. They have a wider room for Celtic yoga, all barefoot movements, but the real standout is the tree circle ceremony. They use the natural acoustics of specific trees like spruce and larch to create this resonance effect.
Wow. Okay, now for people who want to get off the ground entirely, there's one only mandarina in Mexico. They've gone vertical.
Totally vertical. These are standalone tree houses perched 40 feet in the air. The whole resort basically orbits one central figure, La Abuela, a revered 500-year-old grandmother tree.
So you're not just looking at nature. You're literally inhabiting the space of this ancient organism.
You're part of its biome. But we're also seeing this hit cities. Six Senses Kyoto is proving you don't need to be totally off-grid.
How are they doing that?
They have a biohack recovery lounge. They use biophilic design, these floating, mindful rooms, to essentially trick your brain into that state of neuroregeneration, even in an urban core.
Speaking of biohacking, we have to talk about the gear. Because apparently in 2026, our rubber-soled shoes are the enemy. We're seeing this surge in conductive footwear.
Right. This all goes back to grounding. Your standard rubber sole is an insulator. It cuts the bioelectrical circuit between you and the earth.
It breaks the connection.
It breaks the connection.
Yeah.
These new earthing shoes from brands like Bahe or Harmony 783, they use conductive materials like carbon or copper right in the sole.
So it actually closes the circuit. You're allowing electrons to transfer from the earth into your body.
Exactly. And that helps stabilize your cortisol levels. It's the difference between walking on the earth and actually connecting with it.
And to go with the shoes, there's this big return to analog. The Ma principle, negative space. People are buying these luxury planners like from Antorini just to handwrite their thoughts. Yeah. Get away from the screen.
It's all about creating that space. Wellness in 2026 is experience over information. It's not just scenery. It is a full-on physiological intervention.
So what this means for you is that the next time you plan a trip, you might be checking the local tree species as closely as you check the room service menu.
And it really leaves you with a provocative thought. If the forest is now a clinically recognized pharmacy, what are the long-term biological costs of living our lives entirely in concrete environments?
Something to think about the next time you look out your office window. Thanks for joining this deep dive. Stay grounded.